magic place, a holy place, the Black Hills, South Dakota, Wyoming. A place where native people have always come to cleanse their soul. In the old days, the warriors would ride their horses across the Great Plains and have a feeling of brotherhood, feel the wind in their face. Today it is done on the iron horse, and we, as native people, understand why they make this ride and what they're looking for.
For 50 years, motorcyclists from around the world have made an annual pilgrimage to the Black Hills of South Dakota. During this, the gathering's 50th anniversary, 300,000 bikers converged on a town with a population of under 5,000. This phantom city instantly became, by far, the largest in the Dakotas.
Try to get lost in your own world. I do, at least, anyway. Leave the problems at home.
One person described it as kind of like all the Christians going to Jerusalem, you know? They're all gathering up here.
From California and Moscow, Texas and Tokyo, the aerospace engineer, the shoe salesman, the bartender, the grade school teacher, citizens for 1 week of the new biker nation. On any given day, there are more than 3.5 million truckers on the road across America.
They're the backbone of the nation. You know, without the truck industry in here, what are you going to do? How are you going to get your food, your fuel, your shoes, your clothes? How are you going to get that stuff if the truck's shut down? Where's it going to come from? Who's going to haul it?
Something that keeps this United States moving. Without us, it's not going to move.
Long-haul truckers are a unique breed. To most Americans, they are fleeting, faceless blurs, sitting high atop their massive mounts.
The appeal of it is freedom. The freedom to come and go as it please.
You just get to see a lot of different things you'd never see if you didn't drive a truck, you know.
Loners with a lust for wandering, working family teams, refugees from the restraints of traditional corporate jobs. They transport everything we use, and when we're finished, they carry away what we no longer want. Everything from fresh eggs and personal computers to worn-out tires and toxic waste. The average independent trucker keeps the same big rig for about 5 years, in that time logging enough miles to make a trip to the moon and back.
Once you get it in your system, it's hard to get out. You say you're going to get out of it, you're going to go home, you're going to stay home with your family, but pretty quick you're back on the road again.
Along the roads used by these constantly migrating herds of 18-wheelers are about 2,500 interstate truck stops. Like some mythical siren's lure, their neon signs promise nourishment for both man and machine.
First time I stopped here was in '66, and I've been coming here ever since. It's always have had good food, service, and always been real good.
A&E's biography will continue in a moment.
He was just a producer with an idea, but that idea turned out to be a classic, and his imagination has brought our universe a little closer. The Extraordinary Life of Gene Roddenberry. Next on Biography.
Hello, I'm Peter Graves, and this is Biography. Consider for a moment the future. What are we going to find as we travel beyond the limits of this world? Just what mysteries lie ahead? Well, for Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, these questions were both a daily exercise and his life's work. The Star Trek saga began one summer day under the blistering sun of the Southwest Desert in 1921. Eugene Wesley Roddenberry was born on August 19th that year in El Paso, Texas. And that was where he began to dream and to create his vision of the future.
Science fiction is a beautiful game and a beautiful experience.
In years to come, Gene Roddenberry would share his imaginary universe with the rest of us, and in doing so, touch many hearts. Gene Roddenberry had wanted to incorporate his real-life experiences and his opinions about the nature of humanity into a form other people could share. And he found the perfect vehicle to give life to his imagination, the Starship Enterprise.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore
strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before.
Vampires, myth and reality, history and hysterics. The story of Dracula, we now know, is based on fact, and his presence has been kept alive for a century by our desire to be scared.
You're now in my domain.
The Carpathian Mountains of Transylvania. Since the Middle Ages, they've been home to legions of vampire superstition. But the prince, whose rule extended into the regions of Transylvania and Wallachia, in what is now Romania, was also known as Vlad Tepes, Vlad the Impaler. Castle Dracula is only a few miles away from the city of Dirgovista, where Prince Vlad first rose to power in the spring of 1456. Bones are missing, giving credence to the myth that Dracula can rise from the grave. Also missing his treasure, rumored to be hidden in the lake surrounding his grave. Such are the mysteries that keep the Dracula legend alive. You can tour 15th century castles once defended by Vlad the Impaler. Even make your way through shadowy, secret passages. We continue to search for answers. Perhaps most of all, the threat of a vampire puts us in touch with the dark side of our minds and the craving in our hearts. The legend has equally fascinated and frightened.
Giant balloons that could carry bombs more than 6,000 miles from Japan. The intent was to cause massive
Remember your favorite toy when you were growing up? Hi, I'm John Ritter. When I was a kid, I think the toy I wanted the most was a Fanner 50 500 cap gun. I had boxes of toy soldiers and an easy bake oven, but that's another story. No matter what we were playing with, there's a good chance it's the same type of thing that amused children hundreds, even thousands of years ago. Toys and games have been part of every civilization. A toy factory existed in India 5,000 years ago. Ancient Romans played board games like chess and backgammon, and Asian children have been playing with kites and tops for centuries. We're about to discover how toys and games have played a very important role in our development, not just growing as children into adults, but growing as humans as well. They have been with us longer than recorded history. And the only limit to the variety of toys is the imagination of toy makers themselves. Toys illustrate the rich texture and assortment of cultures that use them. Through our playthings, we can see the evolution of how we travel. Over the years, the word toy has taken on the connotation of being a trifle, a trinket, a bauble of little importance. In fact, toy comes from an Old English term meaning tool. Many of these marvelous objects capture our imaginations during infancy and contribute toward the development of skills and independence in childhood. Toys serve as the vehicles of our fantasies, tiny objects that transport our imaginations into worlds we could never explore in reality.
I think the magic of toys, or anything miniature, duplicating real life fascinates a kid.
I think toys are a perfect mirror of society and a perfect mirror of the lives people are living at a certain period. And therefore, when you look into the history of toys, you're also looking back into the history of mankind.
These exquisite figurines, which now reside at the British Museum in London, were carved more than 32 centuries ago. They were found in the tomb of the Egyptian priestess Hinumehet. Their detailed faces and clothing make them the ancestors of today's dolls. Many of the toys and games still played today date back to our earliest ancestors. This 6,000-year-old Babylonian board game is the predecessor of chess and checkers. Stone yo-yos like this one on exhibit at the Nuremberg Museum were crafted in Greece more than 3,000 years ago. Paintings show that they were used in essentially the same way as they are today. This clay bird with wheels was made 2,000 years ago during the Roman Empire and was found in what is now Germany. It is one of the forerunners of the rolling toy. Nowhere has there ever been a better model than a Southern California girl named Barbie.
Barbie, you're beautiful. You make
Barbie stepped out in 1959, greeted by publicity and controversy. Although Barbie's wardrobe has constantly changed, she's always remained on the cutting edge of American fashion. More than 1 billion Barbies have been sold around the world at the rate of 2 Barbies every second. Trains, planes, and automobiles. These are toys that have held a certain fascination with young and old alike. Toys have arisen through each era, mirroring the current mode of transportation, horses, carts, wagons, bicycles, even toy chariots. But of all the toys that go from here to there, things didn't really get moving until about 200 years ago. The 1800s brought the Industrial Revolution and the beginnings of the transportation age. Power, mechanization, these were the byproducts of this new era, and nowhere was the influence of the industrial age more evident than along the railroad. Toy replicas, also capable of movement, weren't far behind. Moving parts, interrelated gears, these toys were miniature versions of the real thing. They took children's imagination to another level.
I think trains from the very beginning of time, from the time they were invented, have always fascinated a child because the early trains, steam engines mostly, were like dragons breathing fire.
Model enthusiasts such as Ward Kimball have made it a life's work to collect early examples of toy trains. And though he is more widely known for his artistry as a Disney animator, passion runs deep for his avocation.
About 1925, I got my first electric. Wow, sparks.
Railroads were the rage, both across America's landscape and in the hearts and minds of children. From a design standpoint, the toy train represented all that was right about the industrial age. Like its counterpart, it looked imposing and inspired great play. Like the antique board games and century-old dolls that spoke so much of the promise of America, their real value has always been to inspire creativity, to nurture imagination, and to awaken or forever keep young the child within. The year 1903 brought a new revolution in transportation. Almost as soon as the Wright brothers had captured the attention of the world with their historic flight, airplanes captivated the imagination of children. In those early days, it may have been rare to see a real airplane, but children could marvel at a replica.
As long as manufacturers have been making real airplanes, there have been miniatures made of them.
Model airplanes were not originally intended to be toys. They were developed to help airplane manufacturers sell their designs to the military. The detailed miniatures first caught the fancy of the nation's top brass.
People at the Pentagon love models. They still do. You walk into a Pentagon office and you'll see shelf after shelf of these models.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
You cannot own a 1961 Mercury capsule. You can, however, own a 1961 model of a Mercury capsule.
Capcom, we're go for landing. Eagle Houston, you're go for landing, over. 10-4 forward, drift into the right level.
An industry was born. In the United States alone, plastic model kits eventually generated more than $130 million in sales per year. And the price range? From little more than $5 to the thousands. As aircraft have become more sophisticated, so too have the models.
We work with the airframe manufacturer to assure that we are producing an accurate facsimile of the exterior of the aircraft.
From the time they were first introduced, model airplanes have sent our imagination soaring. They are a tangible way to relive some of the historic milestones of flight. Back on Earth, the year 1903 brought yet another revolution in transportation. Henry Ford had started his own automobile company, and it wasn't long before the first Model Ts rolled off his assembly line. The automobile became an affordable means of transportation for the average family, and not surprisingly, toy replicas rolled into favor, fueled by the fancy of young minds. Every model of automobile manufactured, there was a toy to match. In the early 1960s, a phenomenon emerged in the toy car business: Hot Wheels.
There was a lot of engineering done in reducing the friction in the axle and the wheel and trying to make these cars roll farther and faster.
One of the reasons that Hot Wheels worked so well was that the toy company had lured real auto engineers away from the big car companies.
Back in the late 60s, I worked at Ford. We did a lot of performance cars back then, and it was the job I always dreamed about in all my life, working in Detroit. The trouble is, you got to do a door handle here and a grill here. The car was so big and had so many pieces, you couldn't do a whole car. When I came on the Hot Wheel line, they said, do a car.
They're new. They're authentic. They're the fastest miniature metal cars you've ever seen. New Hot Wheels, only from Mattel.
The ant farm was actually inspired by a casual observation more than 40 years ago. Its success was made possible by the technology of plastic molds.
I was at my sister's home. She has a swimming pool. And I saw ants in the corner. You always see them around the pool. And I thought, oh boy, why not make an item where you could see the ants? And right there and then, that was July 4th of 1956. See the workers and the guards and the nurses, and it's like a civilization.
To fill Uncle Milton's ant farms, billions of ants have been shipped out, some traveling thousands of miles before reaching their destinations. But not just any kind of ants go into these farms. Out of more than 9,000 known species, only one has been proven suitable for the ant farm. They are vegetarian, and one of the few species that will dig with lights on. Toys and games have come a long way over the years, but while they may look a lot different than they used to, the basic ideas behind them have stayed pretty much the same, simply because it's all about play. So, what will the future bring? We can only imagine. Traditional toys will always be in the hearts and minds of children, but the future of play is moving to higher technological ground, virtual reality. The unquestionable fact is, toys and games are necessary. They spark basic instincts. They foster dreams. They encourage us to seek adventure. As to the future, which toys and games will become the next classics? Which will be put away? Which will be forgotten? No one has been able to predict that for thousands of years. Toys and games have been with us for thousands of years, but it's only in the last 100 years that their importance has been recognized. Toys help us learn and stretch our imaginations. Games teach us that it doesn't really matter if you win or lose. The history of toys and games shows us once again that no matter who we are or where or when we were born, deep down inside, we're all pretty much the same. I'm John Ritter for the History Channel. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, I'm Jack Perkins, and this is Time Machine. The President of the United States is, by all accounts, the most powerful elected government official on Earth. Now, fortunately, we know a great deal about the people we have sent to the White House, but if the walls could talk, we'd learn so much more about our American presidents. Years ago, the White House symbolizes the presidency of the United States of America in the best of times and worst of times. It's a virtual fishbowl, a reality of the grand American democratic experiment. Has housed the hopes and kept the secrets of America's presidents, famous or infamous.
The presidency is a fishbowl from which he can swim out anytime he wants. He can go inside the White House and close the door. It's, I don't know of any fish in a bowl who has all those options.
Lincoln had manic depression and had a very strange marriage. Mary Todd Lincoln was basically a shopaholic, and she had a mental illness about it.
I'm for president, I'm for president, I'm for president, I'm for president. You like I do, I like I do, everybody like I'm for president.
The president's staff tries to put the first executive's best image forward. Their arsenal, TV ads,
We'll take Ike to Washington.
photo opportunities, and carefully planned press conferences.
What do you plan to do if you don't get a tax cut?
I plan to get the tax cut, Mr. Morgan.
Of course there are risks if we are not vigilant, but we do not have to be hysterical.
I have only one thing to say to the tax increasers. Go ahead, make my day.
Inside the White House, they brace themselves for a counterattack. We build a towering monument in his honor after we dragged his name in the mud.
George Washington died a broken man. The press was very mean-spirited to the father of our country. They rode him, and he took it very personally.
In truth, the walls can't talk. So there are still many private details of our president's lives that remain locked inside 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And maybe that's the way it should be. For Time Machine, I'm Jack Perkins. Thanks for watching.